is there discriminatory language there that implies that certain segments of the community should not apply for this housing? They'll never say it outright, but there are terminology that's embedded in some of these marketing materials that we can identify and say, this is discriminatory practices, and be able to speak to that realtor, or be able to speak to that organization. Land use policies and procedures. Again, where is the city wanting to build? Is it something that's adjacent to highways, adjacent to grocery stores and amenities? And finally, as I stated before, we like to collaborate regionally. We want to make sure that what Menifee is doing is in alignment with the surrounding communities, because if not, then you're going to be an island unto yourself, and it's not going to work with your surrounding communities. And that's the end. So we are going to do a quick breakout, and Joyce, I'm sorry, go ahead. Did you have a question?
Surveys, different surveys from the city that I don't care if we did that one because it's community planning. So you disregard the other one and see.
Do we have access to the Wi-Fi? Can you pull up the survey?
Yes.
Is that possible? What project to be done? And that's when community feedback comes back, because they're not going to know, right, what the community wants unless we get the feedback. For all we know, you guys want after-school youth services. I don't know, maybe.
Just to me, it's just kind of...
And that's something, so, but please take the survey. There are free, there's...
So we get the Menifee, yeah.
So in the survey, there is actually a question about code enforcement, and things, because honestly, if that's an issue, and things are falling apart and code's not coming in to help, check that off, honestly.
You know,
specifically be allocated to low-income individuals.
It depends on the program. It's program dependent. Usually not. Usually we do not give funding directly to persons.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Okay.
I'm a former CEO of a healthcare foundation, so I understand criteria. Now, what I'm asking is the seniors that I've been associated with personally and through what I've been doing.
Help low-income to moderate-income families. That's their objective to reduce.
No, and it's an ongoing issue that all cities in California. I work with one of the larger jurisdictions in LA County, and you would think they have a lot of money, but it is an ongoing issue just because pricing is so high, rent is so high. It's pricing people out.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, those are the stuff.
Okay. Sorry. She raised your hand first.
No fighting. Along the same lines, that is one of the issues that is just, it's repeated.
Yeah.
My question to you is, this is a community outreach, and you want to reach as many people as possible.
I agree.
And there's certain
Senior, that segment plugged in as well for information. So we are doing the best we can, and we have newspaper advertisements. So we had advertised this meeting in, 2 newspapers. Yes, so we are constantly speaking to it.
That's a waste of time advertising. There's shoppers, there's no real newspaper.
And hopefully some people read it.
the press enterprise, the community.
That's not a newspaper.
I'm sorry? What community were you speaking to?
senior community.
Right, so we're meeting with senior advisory community, and we can definitely give you all the information as well when we get a chance to talk to you, and you can distribute that.
I'm one person.
Okay,
I'm one
so
business.
tell me what you would suggest. I feel you have an idea.
Old-fashioned ways.
Like,
Meeting seniors who aren't plugged in.
where?
Don't talk here. Here.
Here?
Here, not this building, but in this community.
Okay, and how would you suggest we do that?
I'm not an expert.
Because we are doing...
I can give you 3 suggestions. And one is the old-fashioned walk the communities.
Libraries, senior centers.
Sorry.
With the Senior Advisory Committee, and I'm also on what they call the CERT program. which is community emergency response team.
Perfect.
Where I'm going with all this is that it seems like
here in Romaland, because not all of Menifee, there's only a few qualified census tract that HUD qualifies as low income, and that's where the money would have to go.
So a lot of them would come, maybe this
That's
direction.
correct.
Just, my go.
Sorry, my back's starting. I'm old too. So if we could go ahead and go, Alicia, if you'd like to take the first section. Here's the microphones.
Okay. Do you think it would help to show the questions on here as well? Just since I haven't pulled up.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get out of this.
Sorry, it's in red. I know it's a little hard to see, but it's the same thing on this side as well. So the first page is housing needs, and then the second one is community facilities needed.
Alright, let me scroll down. So this is a PDF of the survey you guys will see online when you access it. Okay, keep going. Okay, so we have 7 different topic areas we're hoping you guys can help us with tonight. The first addresses housing needs within the community. So we have some questions that will also be a part of the survey, but we want you to identify, please, the top 3 housing programs that you think the city should consider in their consolidated plan this cycle.
And these are suggestions.
These are suggestions. If you guys have better ideas,
Yeah.
please
If you have
specify
another,
them.
by all means, write it on your sticky notes as another.
So we've got.
Yeah, write on the sticky notes and slap it up there in the house.
so you want us to answer that first question?
And however you want to. So thinking housing needs, you don't have to do 3. You could do 1. Senior housing, that's a need. Senior housing, slap it up there.
So some of the written examples to bring up the conversation are homeowner housing rehabilitation, housing accessibility,
improvements, ADA improvements, affordable rental housing, senior housing, housing for the disabled.
So does it include like sewer or?
No, this is specific.
Okay, so that's low and moderate housing, I mean.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay. Well, he was supposed to be here, right?
Not necessarily.
It was a town, like a town hall meeting, right?
No, this is the workshop for city meetings. That's program.
Any other post-its? You still working? Perfect, thank you.
So can we ask a question?
Is it in regards to CDP or is it something specific for the city itself?
It's for the city itself. St. Mark,
So I apologize. But definitely reach out to us. We'll talk. Breweries are not funded by CDBG funds, so.
and I've got, I've been here
Towards housing.
40 years now. And what I was concerned about is,
I'm going to pay attention to the sticky notes now.
builders, Frontier, whatever it is, I don't know, put it in,
There's 2 perfect.
Yes,
all
on the
have
26th.
DSL.
told city council definitely should hear this, and that is a school district jurisdiction. We cannot infringe on services that the school district will provide. Like I said, transportation services is more like shuttles for seniors, people who reduces crime and puts eyes on the street.
Because like I said, we're like the stepchildren that nobody wants out of this area.
And these are legitimate concerns. You're not asking for an Applebee's on the corner of your street. You're asking for legitimate safety issues for your children and for the community. By all means, make yourself stronger. Organize these community neighborhood associations.
Just on that same, and I know people here should know, that every city council meeting that's held, and you should keep track of those.
Or how to apply for a mortgage. I don't know how to apply for, I mean, I know how, but you know what I mean? Like, if you don't know how, what the ins and outs are, the city can provide that for you. You know, if you see predatory lending practices, or if you see discriminatory rental practices, they can do a workshop. So that's,
those kind of services would be part of this, or like additional, like.
so that changes now. So with CARES Act especially, what you were making prior to COVID, if your income has changed because you lost your job, or you were laid off, or whatever, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, that is the calculation that we use for that term that you are requesting funding for, right? We don't look back at what you made the year before. We look at, oh, you need assistance from August 2020 to...
And if anyone's running out of Post-its,
To pick up that spot, it was dial-up. And now we don't have, like, we had to, they quoted him $20,000, $30,000 to run the lines to his house to get internet service. That's ridiculous, not in 2021.
So I'd love to take the survey, but unless you're wanting to buy me some Starbucks, I can
Do
go
you
to
have
use
a
the internet at
smartphone?
Starbucks.
Do you have a smartphone?
No.
You don't have a smartphone?
I don't know. Does the mayor ever do a public
Announcement on a TV station that the folks in our community can access? Because our populations that are low income or senior.
Choose your top 3 social services that you think that this funding could potentially fund, because then we're going to go into fair housing and discriminatory.
increase the days and hours of service, or nothing. I prefer to drive, walk, bicycle.
All nothing, right? Nothing? Across the board, nothing. So Cupertino, for example, instituted a program where when there's a natural disaster that takes out electricity or takes out vital resources like water, they activate kind of like a phone tree, and they get people together to check on this list of people that they have in each of their neighborhoods to make sure they are okay, they have food, they have water, for as long as, however, the natural disaster lasts. So if you could use a sticky note, thank you. Thank you for that resounding yes, I appreciate it. Exclamation point, no less.
Sent out for internet. I mean, they told me that it's to the point now where they're just gonna put a box on the pole. They don't even use wires anymore. They just put a 5G box that sends out the signal, so now they're going wireless. So it's not even about the infrastructure of putting in the fiber optics and all that, we're past that already.
No, I get that, but that's how the city of Long Beach used their HUD
No,
funding.
that's what I'm saying.
Role, we were launching Network of Care, and it was a Network of Care grant that was given that, you know, I got fund. But then I actually was the lead program manager to actually design it through Trilogy. And some of the things that we did.
But I would like some consideration from my very shy audience.
You go out and buy another?
Oh, I can't, it's wilting lilies here. I can't handle it. It's like pulling teeth. Okay, so, my question for you is, do you believe housing discrimination occurs in the city of Menifee? Yes or no? And then the second one is, if you believe housing discrimination occurs, what type of housing discrimination do you believe occurs? Did we turn and take it down? So the choices are race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, pregnant, having children, age, marital status or not marital status, national origin, ancestry, criminal history, source of income, or none. You don't think that there's any housing discrimination that occurs in the city of Menifee? Of course. I don't know.
I think source of income is a major issue.
Source of income?
In certain areas, especially some cities, there is totally legalized discrimination.
Please let me know.
Well, they're senior units.
Okay.
The whole development.
I mean, I'm not okay with it.
Yeah, you won't be here for 20 years.
I'll love you. Just let me know so I can put it in the
The
report.
other thing.
Because I'll remember you, but I might not remember you.
Oh, that's okay. Give me
Comedians, what's going on? Okay, and I think if you can please give your answers to either Joyce or Alicia. Ageism, age discrimination.
because it's legal.
I don't know if it's legal.
I don't know, their association may be like ours is a 55 plus community. So you have to have these one at 55.
Community.
And Sun City
I
may
don't-
have that, I don't know.
Sun City has it too.
I think a 55 plus community is legal just because you set aside housing for at-risk communities like seniors.
Well,
What, do you want to take that down? Be like,
No, that was the question, because it is a legal discrimination.
but you cannot legally discriminate based on age. For housing that's affordable and fair. So if a housing unit is built specifically to address low-mod income affordable housing units, unless it is designated as senior housing units by the developer from the get-go and the city approves of it, and it is just designated as affordable housing and receives any kind of kickbacks from planning, any kind of funding from the city as affordable housing, and then institutes discriminatory practices on who they release their units on, that's a problem.
Do we even have low-income
Yeah, I was
housing in
gonna
our
ask that.
city? Because I remember, like, we don't.
No.
Section
No,
eight.
We have three. I shouldn't say no. We have three communities, and two of them are for seniors, and one is for an all-family.
Where's the one for the all-family?
I think it's off of Ethernet. I'm not quite, I can't remember the name of it, but it's just one that we have at this time.
So that goes back
So we definitely
to,
don't want to make this a mistake, the city of Henry with all the low housing.
okay,
I can make a suggestion, which I don't know how that's gonna go over, but,
do I need to hide?
no, you know. City Police Department, every